You know, almost 2,000 years ago, the most powerful man on the planet sat down to write, but just for himself. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius's private journal, which we now call the Meditations, was never meant to be published, and yet it's become one of history's greatest guides to living a good life. So today, we're going to distill some of that timeless wisdom.
Aurelius kicks things off with a truth that's, well, completely unavoidable. Every single day, a little more sand slips through the hourglass. But it's not just about how many days we have left. See, there's a much more urgent problem he wants us to confront.
So this is the first big idea, this profound sense of urgency. But it's not about panicking, right? It's about acting with purpose. Because it's not just that our time is running out. Our ability to use that time wisely is also on a clock.
And this is where Aurelius points to something that's kind of terrifying. He warns that even if we live a long, long life, our intellect, what he calls our trained judgment, that might be the very first thing to fade. We could be physically fine, but lose the mental clarity we need to actually live well. That's why we have to act now, while our minds are still sharp.
And just to really hammer this point home, he reminds us that mortality, well, it's the great equalizer. It comes for everyone. Even the legendary Dr. Hippocrates, the guy who's the very symbol of healing.
It comes for the powerful. I mean, these men conquered empires. They literally reshaped the world. They commanded armies. And yet, they all met the exact same end as everybody else.
And yeah, it even comes for the wise. The greatest philosophical minds in history couldn't outthink death. And there's a brutal honesty here, isn't there? No glamour in how it happens. So, if this is the inevitable end for everyone, from the greatest to the smallest, what are we supposed to do about it?
Aurelius uses this simple, really powerful metaphor to explain. Life is a voyage. You get on the ship, you sail for a while, and eventually you reach the port. The real question isn't if you step ashore, we all do. The question is how you choose to live during the journey itself.
So how do we live well on that voyage? Aurelius suggests a pretty radical shift in perspective. Instead of fighting reality or wishing it was all perfect, we can actually learn to find beauty in the world exactly as it is, imperfections and all. He uses this wonderful, simple analogy. A baker might be aiming for a perfect, smooth loaf of bread, but it's the cracks that form while it's baking that are in their own way really beautiful. They aren't a mistake, they're a side effect of a natural process, and they have their own special charm.
And he keeps going with this idea, pointing out the beauty in things we might just completely overlook. That split in a fig when it gets perfectly ripe, the way corn bends downwards under its own weight, even the foam from a boar's mouth. For someone who really understands nature, these aren't flaws. He calls them a further ornament, something that adds character and fascination to the world.
All right, so we've faced our mortality, and we've learned to find beauty in the external world. Now, Aurelius turns our attention inward. The next great challenge is mastering the one thing we truly have control over, our own thoughts.
Sound familiar? I mean, this could have been written yesterday about scrolling through social media. Aurelius is asking why on earth we waste our precious mental energy speculating about what other people are doing.
And the cost of this distraction is huge. It pulls us away from what he calls our governing self. Think of it as our inner compass, our core of reason. Every moment we spend on useless gossip about others is a moment we're not spending on our own improvement.
So he presents us with a really clear choice. We can let our minds become this messy, chaotic place filled with rivalry and suspicion, or we can actively choose to cultivate thoughts of simplicity and kindness and a feeling of connection to other people. The inner world we inhabit is a world we build ourselves.
This brings us right to the heart of his philosophy. To master our inner world, we first have to identify the master, right? We need to learn how to listen to that internal source of wisdom and strength we all have.
This is the governing self. Aurelius even calls it the divinity seated within you. Now that's not some mystical concept. He's talking about your capacity for reason, your ability to make sound judgments, to control your impulses, and to act with a sense of duty towards your fellow human beings. It's the best part of you. And he makes it so practical. How do you actually do it? Well, first, you value your own mind above everything else. Second, you make your impulses secondary to your reason. You're always examining your own thoughts. And fourth, you remember that we're social creatures, and you make taking care of one another a real priority. So what's the result of all this inner work? facing death, finding beauty in imperfection, mastering our thoughts, and following our inner compass, where does it all lead? It leads to what Aurelius calls the blessed life.
And these are the signs of a person who's on the right path. You love and welcome whatever fate brings your way. You protect that inner clarity. You live truthfully and justly. And this is a big one. You aren't angry or bothered if other people don't understand your simple, cheerful life. You find your own peace.
And right here, this is the ultimate promise of this philosophy. The blessed life doesn't depend on wealth or fame or anything outside of you. It is an inside job, built entirely on your own character. And because of that, no one and nothing can ever take it away from you.
So we end right back where we began, with time. The past is gone, the future is uncertain. All we ever really have is this present, brief moment. So after hearing the wisdom of a Roman emperor, the final question isn't for him, it's for you. What will you do with it?